How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Gunners Guild. With Behemoth being added to World, and Arc-Tempered Kushala and Teostra on their way, armor sets are getting scrambled up again. So per the norm, I'm going to go over the latest set updates, at least for my sets, for the ranged weapons. I'll preface this with letting everyone know that we've already seen the spoiler gear for both Arc-Tempered Kushala and Teostra, and while making new sets, I never really found a set that needed either of their pieces. So I'll go ahead and say this now. We're not going to see updates to range sets with the new Arc-Tempered monsters, so this is pretty much going to be it until after the Fall Festival, sadly. One other thing that I want to note is that until we get some sort of adjustments made for Elemental, Pierce, and normal ammunition, I'm going to refrain from updating those sets. It's pretty niche, and it's not really worth my time and to worry about it right now. So, starting with Heavy Bowgun, Glutton is obviously the champion here. New set allows for 100% affinity with just one crit augment, without really losing anything significant. You can choose to swap out 2 ranks of crit boost and a point of attack and critical eye to get peak performance 3, but your effective raw drops a little bit and you have a conditional 20 raw, so I'm just staying away from that. I also made sets for Glutton using earplugs 3 and 5. 3 is mainly for Odogaron or if you want to run some small monsters, but 5 is for everything else. The Earplugs 5 set doesn't actually lose a whole lot for the trade, just 5% affinity and 2 ranks of crit boost and like 6 raw. I totally think it's worth the trade on most monsters just because Heavy Bowgun roll eats so much time. Moving on to clusters, everyone's favorite type of cheese. After much testing with the Luna Heavy Bowgun, I feel like it still doesn't make the cut. It does have better proc rate than Xeno for sure, but it just doesn't deal enough damage to make up for it. Zora's Heavy Bowgun is in a similar boat. It's notably weaker than Joe's, but at least it can fire status shots better, so it's got that going for it. Joe is still on top. You can run 2 setups for any cluster Heavy Bowgun. You either run Agitator for some extra raw, or run Artillery if you're going to use Wyvern's Fire. If you run Artillery, make sure you're using close range mods as well. Otherwise, for your cluster setup, your mods aren't going to matter, unless you can reduce some recoil on a status shot or something. Nothing affects reload or recoil of cluster 3, sadly, so that's all you got. Also, just noting that due to the restrictions of 3 pieces of Xeno, the sets really haven't changed since Luna, so no real update here. For Light Bowgun, Elemental sets haven't gotten a change either, they're still pretty mediocre. Joe Light Bowgun with Spread 3 got to squeeze in one more rank of Critical Eye back with the Kirin Gamma set. Not sure if I updated that or not, but that pretty much hasn't changed as well. I will also include my Spread Dragon Light Bowgun setup, which I don't think I've posted before. It works really well in the Wrath family when they get knocked out of the air, and it's got the same setup as Spread 3 Light Bowgun, but it trades some crit for Dragon 3. I still enjoy Spread 2 Light Bowgun with either Myra or Juratotus. These weapons are basically identical. I can manage to squeeze out 2 more points of effective raw on Juratotus over the Myra, but that doesn't even change any of the damage numbers of the bullets, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, Spread 2 is still weaker than Spread 3, of course. It crits for about 140, while Spread 3 hits for 160 and crits for about 200. The plus side of running Spread 2 is a clip size of 5 and normal reload speeds, and it has access to a lot of good status. It's still a lot of fun to use. Now for bows, the first thing I think I need to mention is that no, Aerial Airborne does not affect bows, the same for regular Airborne. The reason is that the jump attacks do not do mounting damage, which is the trigger for those skills, so we will not be using that. I went ahead and made some Elemental Airborne sets to try them out, but nope, same damage. The other major change is that I pretty much dumped the Luna gear. While stamina cap up is really nice, I tend to prefer damage more. Bow relies on elemental crit, and the new Behemoth armor gives a lot of crit, so it's no surprise that it works really well with bows. We pretty much used the Luna just because we didn't lose anything from getting stamina cap up, but now it's a choice between stamina and like 10 or 20% more crit, so I'm going to go with the crit. I'm going to go through these sets really quick, but they're all fairly similar, and bow hasn't changed at all. You're still running the same bows as before, so there's not much else I need to cover. I still run 2 sets for Dragon, one with Val and one with Queen. I jump between the 2 because they still feel like Queen's slightly better in the end, but they're pretty dang close. The only thing to note, again, of course, is the damage numbers on the training pool are skewed towards Val's just because it's got higher raw than Queen. And that's about it for the ranged weapon updates. If you play melee, just remember that Master's Touch and 100% affinity is easily obtainable now with Behemoth gear, so go for that. That's all for me, so thanks for watching, people. I'll see you guys next time.